And let's start with the love, because that's a fun way to start. And it's also one of the most popular movies of the year. I kind of can't believe I forgot to do a review on this movie, but I looked through the channel, like, I never actually reviewed this movie. So we're reviewing it today, and that is the action sensation film that is this franchise that basically reinvigorates Keanu Reeves as an action star. This film in particular stars Keanu Reeves, but also includes Donnie Yen, Ian McShane, Lawrence Fishburne, reuniting him with Keanu, the Matrix duo, Scott Adkins, Shamar Anderson as Mr. Nobody, is really good in this film. Bill Skarsgård is a new addition. For those who, let me say this movie title. For those who don't know what movie I'm referring to, it's John Wick Chapter 4, directed by Chad Stahelski, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Let me give you a brief synopsis for John Wick, as if it even matters. In this film, as the bounty continues to grow on John Wick's head, he sets out to get revenge on the High Table and those who left him for dead in the previous movie. This is the fourth installment in this film. This has kind of been described as the conclusion of this John Wick story as we know it. They've been a little coy on whether this will be the actual end of this franchise, or if this is just the last appearance we'll see of Keanu, or if we're going to get John Wick Chapter 5. That's all kind of left in the air. But for the story laid out in John Wick Chapter 1, him going up against the people who killed his dog, and then him going up against the High Council, and then him being punished, all that. This is the, for lack of a better word, definitive conclusion of this story. And here's what I have to just go out right away and just praise of this movie is the action in, I was about to say Top Gun because that's another really well-directed action movie. The action in John Wick Chapter 4 is top-notch. This is maybe the best hand-to-hand combat I've ever just seen on screen. I actually couldn't believe what I was watching. This is so impressive, and it's so fluid, and it's captured kind of so brilliantly by Stahelski at the helm. So many action films, like, while they might have some good cinematography, they're kind of ruined by camera work where it's just hard to follow what the action is happening on screen. This film's not that. This film is the case of, I am totally able to understand the visual language of which this action is filmed in. It is so easy to follow, and thus the story is easy to follow. And it's so painstakingly difficult watching this action to just imagine how this director captured it. The cinematography in this film is legitimately wonderful. This is one of the most beautiful looking films that I have seen. This last hour in particular is just a sequence of just brilliance. I mean, just this last hour of cinematography on display. It's just so incredible to watch. In particular, if you've seen the movie, you'll know this shot that I'm referring to, but there's a certain scene where John Wick gets a shotgun / flamethrower weapon, and the camera turns to a bird's eye view, and it's like looking down at the action, and it kind of is modeled after this video game, which I'm blanking on the name of the video game, but it's such a cool effect because it blends this feeling of modern action, old school action. Like, it very much gave like a really like, it used the effects of Matrix, what made Matrix so special, which makes sense because Chad Stahelski, again, sorry, I'm mispronouncing his name, but he was one of the stunt coordinators on The Matrix. So it has this fluidity nature that was kind of made famous by The Matrix. So it adds to that, lends this film cinematic qualities. But like this bird eye view, it kind of makes it feel like a video game. And in doing so, it just makes everything that much more interesting to look at, because this is a 3-hour movie of action. And that sounds like it should get repetitive, but it never actually does get repetitive because each scene is just done with such a different style and feel. The next sequence following this bird's eye view is this sequence that involves John Wick trying to get up a flight of stairs. And it's kind of comedy done to perfect effect. It is such a funny, but also such a noteworthy action scene in the movie. And it's just this moment where it, again, allows you to kind of just feel John Wick getting pushed down and him keep ascending. But it's also done to pretty wonderful comedic effect. And it's, like I said, this whole last hour is building up upon itself, where like John Wick, the whole point of this last hour in particular, and I'm focusing on this last hour, not because the rest of the movie isn't good, but it's because this last hour is kind of a perfect summation of what the director does so well and what this production team does so well in John Wick Chapter 4, is John Wick is trying to get to a destination, and meanwhile, everyone in the city is trying to kill him. And the scene starts off, John Wick is literally coming from the ground up. I mean, he is in the, I'm trying to think, if the subway station of this city, and he ascends up, kind of, you get this imagery, it's almost like the devil ascending from hell to exact his revenge. And there's this car chase that follows, followed by the staircase sequence that I mentioned, and it's just kind of just incredible to look at. This car chase sequence in particular is like one of the best film stunts I've ever seen. I can't even imagine how hard that was to film. And the camera is doing about 1,000 things at once that just make this film so interesting to look at. It is such an engaging film with the way it uses colors, with the way it uses lighting, with the way it even decides to tell its story. It is just so, the story should be conventional, and yet it feels so fresh because we've never seen action filmed like this. And it makes this 3 hour, it makes this 3 hour long runtime just fly by. And here's the thing. This movie does feel like 3 hours, but I could have kept watching it. I feel the length of the movie, but I didn't want the movie to stop. And that's a testament to the quality of filmmaking that is in John Wick Chapter 4. For what this film is, it's kind of a masterpiece. Like, I mean, legitimately one of the best action films you will ever see put to screen. John Wick is really strong as the protagonist. Keanu Reeves is very strong as the protagonist. That's what I meant to say. It is all around, just like I said, a very impressive directorial feature, production design. This is this genre, this action movie, this revenge thriller, just done to the utmost. And most movies would take easy shortcuts, and that's never what this movie's interested in. It is really interested in, can we deliver high-octane action, just filmed to perfection? And that's what John Wick Chapter 4 achieves. I was really impressed with this film. I really love this film. I think it's, if not the best John Wick film, then it's definitely the second best John Wick film. This is a huge recommendation for me. 4.5 out of 5 stars for me.